Hi everyone, welcome back to the Danny Show. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Edward Jim. So Edward Jim is a current student at the University of Waterloo, currently studying kinesiology. He formerly was a student at St. Robert Catholic High School, and he's a big basketball fan, an avid Raptors fan. And right now he's on his co-op term, uh, working as a safety analyst for Toyota Motor Manufacturing Canada. And now Mr. Edward Jim joins me live. How are you doing, Edward?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good man, good. Good, good, good. Great to see you, man. For those of you who
Yeah,
don't
great
know,
to see you too.
yeah, for those of you who don't know, Edward and I go way back since senior kindergarten.
Yeah. How long is that? That's like 20 some years,
Yeah, it's
right?
almost 2 decades, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
Been a while.
Yeah. hmm
So great to see you, man, and thanks for coming on the show. First question, what kind of drew your interest to pursue kinesiology?
so as you know, I'm a big basketball fan. Like I love
Right,
the Raptors.
right.
I love sports overall, and so I thought like kinesiology was something that could be really good for me. I mean, it deals with a lot of human anatomy. It's essentially just exercise science, and I was always a big active person and big on
Mhm.
like trying to be healthy and trying to stay active myself. And so um, that's kind of what led me to look into kinesiology. And then as I was researching it, I looked into like injuries because like when we play basketball, people are going to get injured, right?
Yeah,
A
for
lot
sure.
of ankle sprains, like ankle sprains or whatever that I've gotten, and then gotten treated for when I go to the physios. I got to see how they interact with patients, how they deal with different injuries, different tests, and I thought that was really interesting to me. And so I thought I really wanted to pursue this field and um, kind of just see where it takes me. And so I chose kinesiology to try and get into that rehab field. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
see. That's cool, man. That's cool. So now that you've been in this field, how has like your co-op term been for you? Well, how has that experience been like for you?
My co-op's been good. I mean, with Waterloo, you get multiple co-op terms, and so
Hmm.
I have five total, and I've done four so far.
Right.
Um, the first co-op I had was a health and safety assistant at a rubber manufacturing
Right.
factory.
Hmm.
The second one was at a physio clinic, and the third and fourth one are the ones I'm working right now at Toyota
Okay.
as a safety analyst. Yeah, so they've all been pretty good. I mean, yeah.
That's good, man. Great to hear. And kind of coming from high school, how was like your high school experience for you at St. Rob's? Like, did you get into those courses that you needed for kinesiology, and how was that for you?
At St. Rob's, it was pretty smooth in terms of getting into the courses that I needed. I mean, it was a lot of just like the general sciences, biochem, physics,
Right.
and then even with the courses that are offered at St. Robert's, they do have a kinesiology course. There was a
Yeah. Right.
rec and leisure course, like a recreation
Hmm.
course with Miss Morale.
Yeah. I think we had that together.
Remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We had that together, and so yeah, everything was pretty smooth with the transition, especially taking that kinesiology course in high school. So, I mean, if you are looking into going to kinesiology, I would say um, take your core like sciences, and then if your school offers a kinesiology course, it definitely helps um, you when you get into kinesiology.
It's great to hear, man. So now that you got into kinesiology at Waterloo, how has your Waterloo experience been like for you at the institution?
Honestly, it's been pretty good for what it was. I mean, uh, you know, like we were in the same year when we graduated. We didn't
Right.
really have a graduation. We had COVID, right?
Yeah.
So our first year wasn't really like um, wasn't as I guess normal as you would say
Right.
for everybody else. I mean,
Right.
we were online. We didn't really get that like a week. So
Mhm.
first year was all online. Still pretty good. I mean, I got into a lot of group chats. I made a lot of friends. Kind of made into got into my own like friend groups and stuff. So it was still pretty nice.
Right.
Um, and then when second year hit, when things started loosening up, when we could get on campus, I had the opportunity to work with cadavers, which was really
Mm.
cool. And if you don't know, cadavers are like donated bodies of
Okay.
people that have passed away.
Oh, okay. I
So
see.
when they pass away, they sign a form saying they're going to donate their bodies for research.
Oh,
And so they get like what is the word again? Um, like fermented and like formaldehyde. That's not the
right.
right word, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like
Yeah, like they preserve their bodies or something.
preserved. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's the word.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like when we do like the frog dissections in biology. I don't know if you did that or
Yeah, I think yeah, I did
the
that. Yeah,
pig
yeah,
head or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I
you
did that
did
too.
that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it's just like that, but with a
with
human
the human
body.
body.
So
Interesting.
that
That's
was
cool.
honestly really cool. I mean, that's one of the
Yeah.
things that Waterloo is like good for or known for is like the cadavers. You get to work with cadavers.
Mhm.
And I was pretty heavily involved with like teaching students about human anatomy using these
Cool,
cadavers and
cool, cool.
kind of like prepping them for teaching. So it
Right.
was all really good. And besides that, I mean, the courses I've been taking, like all my professors have been really nice. They're not easy courses, but they're not hard, like extremely hard. I'd say they're all manageable and
Manageable.
difficult
Right.
in their own way. But if you put in the time, if you study hard, I mean, you'll get results.
Sure.
So it is like how much you put into it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Any
Mhm.
like any favorite courses you've taken at Waterloo that really interested you?
Definitely human anatomy.
Okay.
Human anatomy is one that I really like. I mean, you just kind of look at the entire body. You see, like, you know, all the muscles, you know what they do.
Right.
Um, biomechanics is a cool one. It's essentially just physics, but on your body. So it's like the different angles that your knee is in, how much force will that produce? Like you can look at like sprinters and it's like the angle of their body, like how much force you calculate how much force they can produce versus someone
Mhm.
who's at a different angle.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so all of that is pretty cool. Um, even like neuroscience. I mean, just the brain is something that's always going to be studied. It's still pretty unknown to us, I feel like, and so
Right.
just learning about what we know and learning about the brain is always really cool.
Yeah, for sure. There's certain types of the body, like parts of the body that there's still so much to investigate on, like that there's so
Yeah.
many like new technologies and research going on with it. But like I wanted to know like what do you think about like the new technology, especially with AI coming in, kind of taking over, I guess, science. What do you think about it?
I mean, it's definitely like it'll definitely be very helpful. I mean, it essentially it's something like a robot doing things for you, right?
Right.
It's like it's pretty crazy to me how AI works. I still find it like pretty cool and
Same here.
but in terms of just yeah, right? Like in terms of technology, I mean, um motion capture is like a big thing for
Hmm.
kinesiology when you're doing like analyzing movement patterns and analyzing athletes. And so motion capture is always going to be something that's going to be continuously improved on. And maybe even with the AI, it'll like improve that even further.
Right.
I honestly don't even know, but um, just with research in general, I think AI is definitely helpful. It'll help like kind of just scour the internet for you almost and
Hmm.
give you resources, right? So
Exactly. Well, it's interesting to see. So we'll see where it takes us. But
yeah.
what kind of challenges you have faced as a university student?
Mm, I would say, um, besides, I guess, like, I wouldn't say these are challenges, more so just like school is just going to be a grind all the time, right? You're
Right.
always going to have to
Exactly.
work and study to get the marks that you want.
For sure. Definitely.
With what I found with kinesiology is that um, this degree is kind of like a stepping stone degree.
Hmm.
And so I guess the challenge is kind of knowing what I want to do after. Because at first I was thinking like getting into rehab and getting into physio.
Hmm.
But the more you look into it, like the physio schools here are pretty competitive.
Okay.
And that's not to say that it's impossible. Like I have friends that are definitely like have a chance of getting in. I'm just saying, me personally, like my marks aren't the greatest, but they're not bad, right? It's just like it's really competitive, right? And
Hmm.
so if you're not trying to get into a medical field, having a standalone kinesiology degree is kind of tough, unless you want to do like personal training. But you definitely need like secondary school after. So I guess that's kind of the challenge that I've kind of found is that like figuring out what I want to do after with kinesiology.
Right. Like that stepping
Um,
stone.
yeah, because it's like I'll definitely need like a secondary sort of post graduate education to kind of
Right.
boost my boost my resume and boost my
I
um,
see.
like my skill set.
Right, exactly. It kind of ties into my next question, which is like, what career path are you considering? But like after kinesiology, what are like the common kind of pathways students take after kin?
Yeah, I mean, I think the common pathways is like physiotherapy is definitely one of like physiotherapy,
Right.
chiropractor. I know some people take this for dentistry. I mean, if you're gonna go
Yep.
into med school, you could definitely have this and
For sure.
apply for med school. Also, just like personal training,
Hmm.
RMT, registered massage therapy.
Right.
You
RMT.
can even
Yep.
be a registered kinesiologist.
Right.
Um, and then within all of those, there's kind of like specialized
Yep.
positions, I would say.
Right.
So like instead of just being like a physio, you could be like a physio in a hospital,
Hmm.
or like you can be part of like a personal trainer and like not just like a commercial gym or like a you can be like private personal training, or you can do
Right.
elderly home personal training.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so I guess in that sense, there is a lot of
Hmm.
different career paths.
Right.
What I recently found is health and safety is an
Mhm.
option for kinesiology students afterwards.
Yeah.
And so that's been something that I've been trying to explore. I mean, health and safety comes with like ergonomics. So like lifting and ergonomics deals with a lot of biomechanics. So, you know, the different angles of your body that put pressure on different parts of your body, like different positions that you're in, different postures. And so that's something that's very important when you're working with like how I'm working with right now in manufacturing plants.
Right.
When they're in the assembly lines and they're doing the same thing over and over again, that causes repetitive strains, repetitive injuries.
Yep.
If you're going to be lifting a box like for 8 hours a day, even if, it could be like a 20-pound box, but if you're lifting it for 8 hours a day, that's going to add up, right? And
Yeah, for
so
sure it does. Yeah.
making sure that they're lifting properly or having the correct tools to help them lift it, to minimize the amount of damage that'll be doing to their body. So
No, I totally agree.
um, yeah, so like besides medical, I mean, there's going to be ergonomics and manufacturing with health and safety. So
It's cool,
yeah.
man. So cool. Second last question. What kind of like projects have you worked on in your either co-op or as a kin student?
Uh, I didn't really do a lot of projects as a kin student yet,
Okay.
mainly because um, I think more of the projects are in fourth year.
Okay.
So I haven't started my fourth year of school yet.
Okay, I see.
I don't know if this counts as a project, but as I told you, I was working with the cadavers a lot.
Right, right, right.
And so in those cadaver labs, I was always preparing them for teaching. So I would have to say they would say like, oh, make sure try to show the like the patellar tendon.
Okay.
And so I'd start dissecting it and making it look teachable for the professors.
I see.
There was one project where high school students were coming in and they're touring the school and they're learning about human anatomy. And so they got to tour the cadaver lab. And so I was in charge of teaching them about the shoulder. And so
Hmm.
I had like a whole person and then a whole like separate arm that I was showing them, and I was telling them like, okay, like this is the shoulder, these are the muscles in the shoulder, like this is the deltoid, this is the triceps, and these are the motions of the shoulder. And I was teaching these high school students. And funny thing is, one of them, I guess it's not funny, but one of these students actually fainted
Oh
on
man.
me
Damn.
because it's like, yeah, it gets pretty it's a
Intense.
little like, yeah, it gets kind of intense
Yeah.
if you can't stomach it or if you can't handle it. But
Right.
he was fine in the end. But I just wasn't. I was like teaching, and then all of a sudden a kid just dropped on the floor, and I was like, oh
It
shoot,
happens. It happens.
yeah. But he in the end he was okay.
Right.
Everything was fine. But I guess that's really the only kin projects I've been involved with.
Right.
With my co-op at Toyota, they give you like a project to work on.
Hmm.
So I was kind of like a managing this one project the last time I was at Toyota where I had to improve their eye wash inspection system.
Right.
So it was like a pretty outdated system. They're using paper to track everything, and so I was just trying to figure out a way to put it into an online and more efficient system. Ended up working out. Ended up uh, now it's like an online system. Um, and currently, I'm working on reducing noise in one of the assembly shops.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, so there's usually like a limit to how much noise that you're allowed to be exposed to.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um, So being in like an assembly shop, there's going to be loud tools, loud banging.
Right.
So if it's over the limit, you're going to have to wear hearing protection, right? Like those earplugs.
Right.
So I'm looking into potentially switching out the tools to like quieter tools, or
Mhm.
just try to see what I can do to the shop to make it quieter so that maybe they don't need to have the hearing protections. It's that they're overall just not exposed to um, that level of noise.
Right. Right. That's pretty cool. Edward, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. Last question. Any advice you want to give anyone who's like considering to pursue a kinesiology degree?
Yeah, I mean, my advice would be make sure you have a plan.
Hmm.
Make sure you have a plan for what you want to do after kinesiology. It's kind of like what I said earlier, it's a stepping stone degree. And so
Right.
uh, just having kinesiology alone is, um, you might find it, you might, everybody's path is different, but
Hmm.
I found it that if I just have kinesiology, that it might be a little difficult for me to find a good paying job. Um,
Right.
so definitely have a plan. If you're going to do medical, if you're going to do physio or chiro or like dentistry, um, kinesiology isn't a bad degree to get into or to do to get to that point.
Right.
Um, Again, study, marks are very important to being competitive for those programs.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, kinesiology is still it's a fun degree, I would say. It's cool to learn. Um, and so if you're interested and you have a plan for what you want to do with kinesiology afterwards, I would say go for it.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, just enjoy it. It's definitely it's not a stressful degree. Like personally, I think it's not a stressful degree. Like you hear like engineers, their like schedules are crazy packed. Like
Right.
with Waterloo Kin, it's pretty manageable. I mean, you manage your time wisely, and you'll have time for both work and fun. So
That's
yeah,
good. That's great to hear, man. That's great to hear. You find that balance, so that's good.
yeah.
Edward Jim. Edward, thanks for coming on the show, buddy. I really appreciate it. You can follow him on his Instagram and LinkedIn. I'll put his social handles in the description down below for y'all to go and follow and get connected with them. Edward, man, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, sorry about the camera. I honestly don't know what happened.
No
But
worries, buddy. No worries.
thank you so much, man.
No worries, man. Take it easy.
All right, take care.